Hello, YouTube fam. It's your girl, Cara Janae. For those of you that are new to my channel, I'm here to share with you lifestyle, DIY, and faith to help inspire and encourage you to grow in confidence and boldness. So, we're going to get right into this tutorial today. I'm actually sharing with you the process of creating this amazing accent wall. I am so excited to share this process with you. I've had so many people kind of like send me messages, tag me in comments when I shared pictures and photos and videos of the wall. And so I'm finally doing the tutorial and sharing with you how I actually created this process. I want you to sit back and relax, but also make sure you're taking notes because this is going to inspire you to create your own amazing and creative accent wall in your home. All right, let's get into it. So first things first, we're going to tape everything off, of course. I had already painted the other 3 walls in this room. The color that I used for the other sides of the walls was called Moon Gaze. It's by Bear. You can get it at Home Depot. And so the next thing after taping everything off is to prime the walls, of course. So it's really hard to tell what the color was before I actually started priming because I kind of lightly primed the walls before I actually started recording this part of the video. The reason why I'm priming the walls is because the color that was on here previously was a robin's egg blue. And it was very, very harsh and abrasive, and it's very, very difficult to cover, surprisingly. It was actually warping the color of the other paints that I was trying to put on top of it. So, lesson learned. I happily complied with priming my walls, even though the paints that I purchased were one-coat paints for the most part. So, I'm just going to finish up priming here. You see me getting even the windowsills because yes, that robin's egg blue paint was a pain to cover. So I'm just gonna make sure I'm covering everything. And honestly, I didn't have to be very like super thorough with the primer. That was a blessing because it probably would have taken even longer to do this. And you see here, I have my little sidekick. This is my daughter, Amana, who is like always glued to my hip. And when she realized I was recording, of course, she wanted to be in the mix. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually doing an ivory color. And that is going to be what I want to use as like, I guess in order to give you like a context, it's kind of like my base, like my home base color. I knew that I was going to be using lots of different colors, but I wanted like a neutral color that could kind of like tone the colors down and also, you know, prevent the wall from being like an eyesore, so to speak. So I decided to do ivory. And this particular one, I think is just like a regular like one coat ivory from Bear. Got this at Home Depot and I really like it. It was super easy to apply. You can see here like I really didn't need to do any more than just one coat because it's a really good coverage. So one of the other things that you'll notice while I'm putting on this like base or home coat, I like home base coat, whatever. I don't know if I just made that up, but anyways, I started doing it like in patches because at first I was thinking that I was going to put the colors like all over the wall. But you'll kind of see as everything starts to develop that I literally end up going a totally different direction. So, what I knew, like I said, was that I wanted a very nice neutral color to kind of bring things down a bit so that the amount of colors that I'm using wouldn't be like an eyesore or overpowering. But yeah, once I was done putting it in the places that I thought I wanted it, I started using color. And here goes the time lapse. So what I'm doing here, of course, is I'm just kind of like mapping out patches of color. Like I know that I want certain colors to touch. but I don't know how big of spaces I want. And you'll see that I literally ended up covering one of those other colors because I thought it was way too dark and I didn't want it to overpower the space that it was taking. So this is the end of day one. Literally, this took me about 2 hours worth of painting. And that was because I went back in with some water, like a spray bottle, and like tried to add drips for layering. But obviously, this is not what I had in mind. So, yeah, like I just want you guys to see that this process was definitely a process. It's not like magically, picture perfect first time through. And of course, this is my first time doing an accent wall. So this is the next phase. I went back in a few hours later after letting the paint dry, and I actually just went over some of those sections, especially the sections where I put patches of ivory. I knew that I really didn't want to incorporate the ivory that low. So I started formulating my idea and picture of what I wanted it to look like really as I got to that point. And now here, I'm sorry for the orientation, but what I did was I actually started doing what is really going to help you to achieve this look, and that is layering in multiple layers of different like colors. So here you'll see me doing like small patches. And what I'm doing is I actually bought variations of the same shade of color. And then I kind of went over the same spot with just those different variations. So each spot and each patch kind of has 2 to 3 different colors of paint that I literally like layered in. And even sometimes maybe added like a little bit of the ivory while the paint was still wet, and then added it with a light spritzing of water to give it a more layered and like textural effect. And so you'll kind of see that I ended up doing what I said I was going to do, which is adding that ivory to the top and then working the colors as the wall went down. And now what I'm doing down here on the floor is literally like smoothing out the edges, blending the edges of those colors in the transitions. And I will kind of show you a close-up of that at the end of the video so you can really see what I did. And just to explain it, what I was doing is I had a spray bottle in hand and I was alternating between the 2 colors that were touching. So I would spray a little bit of water, use like the one color to the left, and then add a little bit of more water and add the color to the right. And that way those 2 colors kind of blended together in a very layered like effect and look. Even on the ivory parts, I blended between the ivory and then the colors that were touching the ivory. So it really gave it a more like in-depth look. And that is the end of, this is actually the end of day 3 for me, of working on the wall. And once you start using the spray bottle pretty heavily, you want to make sure that you're not like drenching the wall. So you want to be very light-handed with the water. And that's why I allowed a lot of like in between time to dry before adding another coat. And this part of the wall actually went the smoothest because I knew exactly what I wanted over here, which was that blushy kind of pink with the taupe mixed together, because it kind of just reminded me of like almost like a desert scene in my mind. And then of course with like the teal, it kind of brought in like that tribal feel as far as like the colors. And again, I just layered in 2 to 3 different colors of the same shade of paint, and or excuse me, 2 to 3 different colors of different shades of the same color. But yeah, this gives you that effect to where it doesn't look flat like it did the first day, because that was a nightmare. But it does give you a more like dimensional look. So yeah, this is the wall all finished, and I didn't add the gold part yet, so this is me showing you that part just so you can see the process. I actually did use gilding glue on here. And as far as like techniques and all of that, if you're really interested in like the actual like nitty gritty details of this wall, definitely let me know. I can share, more of the details. But right now I'm just adding the glue, and I kind of forgot to turn the camera. There we go. Catch up. So yeah, just adding the glue to the wall and kind of mapping out where I wanted gold to be. So this part was actually like the fastest part of doing the wall, because once you know where you want it to be, just kind of add the glue, and then you can kind of move on from there as far as like adding the gold leaf. And if you want to add more, you can just add more glue and layer it on. But you definitely want to make sure that you're protecting the glue, like, or excuse me, the gold leafing once you're done, because it's not really gold and it can oxidize and start to tarnish. So yeah, that's the finished look there. And then the last thing, last but not least, is the cleanup. And I thought I would just show you guys this part. So just peeling off all the tape. And there was actually like a little bit of cleaning up along the edges. So I did go back with like the ivory just to make the edges a little more smooth and make sure that nothing, was uncovered or unfinished. And then I had to vacuum up all that gold leaf, guys. It was messy. So there's that blending I was talking to you about. We actually blended all those little spaces and pieces so you can really start to see like the intricate details of this wall. And I think that's what makes it so special, is really seeing how everything was kind of blended out and it just kind of worked together. It does take a lot of patience to do that blending along those edges, but when I tell you it's so worth it, I feel like it gave the wall so much dimension and just such a beautiful finish. And then the gold leafing on top of everything, it was just like perfect. The cherry on top, absolutely. So this is my accent wall for my home office, and I love it. So that is it for this tutorial on how I created my amazing accent wall. I hope that you've enjoyed and learned a little something, and that it inspires you to do and create your own project as well. And if you decide to go this route, please make sure you share it with me. You can tag me on IG at Cara Shine, and make sure you follow me over there. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. I really do appreciate you watching this video, and I hope that you have an amazing day. And remember to always live with shine.